Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. I got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to get straight to it. Going to visit with Maureen Burch and Stephen Bennett. They're with a company that most Houstonians, I think, are familiar with, which is two men and a truck. And good to see you both. How are you?
Yeah, good, doing well. Thank you for having
us. Maureen, why don't you start off by kind of giving us the elevator pitch of what your company is all about? And by the way, you're members of Houston West Chamber of Commerce, which is an awesome organization. We're great friends of that organization and partners, and have been now for probably around 10 years. And so we're delighted whenever Houston West sends guests over.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we're enjoying being with them too. Well, interesting enough, it started as an after-school business for two high school boys, Brig and John Sober, and their mother, Mary Ellen Sheets, with a hand-drawn logo, advertisement in a local newspaper, and advertising fund stashed in a ceramic dish. The endeavor was never expected to be more than a local moving company. Now, 30 years later, Two Men and a Truck has grown both domestically and internationally, with more than 320 locations worldwide and 2,100 trucks.
So are you corporately located in Houston? Is the organization itself, was it created in Houston?
No, it was created in Lansing, Michigan.
Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah. There you go. I'm from Ferndale, Michigan, by the way, just down the road from Lansing. So that's cool. Very cool. I like the other team, though, the Ann Arbor one. But anyway, talk a little bit, Stephen, about what's going on with the company today here in the Houston market. How big of a footprint do you guys have?
It's definitely a large footprint. I mean, we just joined, our individual franchise joined this year, and we are involved with several other franchises in the Houston, Texas area. There's 320 locations nationwide, and we actually have grown internationally as well in United Kingdom and Ireland.
Okay. How many locations do you have in the greater Houston area?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I would say at least four Houston locations. Four
Houston locations. Very, very good. Tell me a little bit, first of all, besides the fact, Maureen, it's a fascinating story, obviously, yes. A couple of college kids, or high school kids who start off with something like this, and instead of, being created in the garage, it was created with the stuff that came out of the garage.
Right.
You got to use that, by the way. All these great stories are about businesses that started in the garage. No, ours started getting stuff out of the garage. But talk about what differentiates this company from others out there in the moving industry.
Well, I think we separate ourselves with our customer service. Every customer that we move receives a reply card 2 or 3 days after the move, and our movers and drivers are paid on incentivized-based pay, depending on the scores they receive from the customers, as far as move, care of furniture, how well they're dressed, that type of thing. So we are driven to provide a efficient, stress-free move for all of our customers.
So, Stephen, I'll give you this perception as someone who's seen the trucks for many years. The perception is that you only do local moves?
That is a perception, and that's what Mary Ellen Sheets, the founder, wanted it to be. They wanted everybody to look at it as a local moving company, which in turn is not. We go as far as moving a piece of furniture within your home, to doing business moves, residential, and we go interstate, across state lines.
You do go across state lines.
Absolutely.
And I would think, that would surprise probably the vast majority of my audience. They'd be surprised that you do that.
Yeah, and the thing that we offer is an expedited moving service. We specialize in moving you and only you. We won't go and pick up 3 other families and tell you that we'll be out there 2 or 3 weeks later. We'll give you an exact day, and we'll be almost to the hour of arriving on our guarantee.
Yeah. People got to love that. I tell you, that's obviously always the challenge when it comes to moving companies. It's, and that's another good point. Talk a little bit about that, Maureen. This is one of those industries that, frankly, kind of hover right up there above used car sales in terms of expectations, negative expectations. Talk about what consumers should be asking, what consumers should be thinking about when they're hiring a company like yours, to help avoid those kind of pitfalls. Obviously, you would say the simple answer is to go to Two Men in a Truck, but
right.
But what are some questions that any consumer should be asking when it comes to hiring a company to move their things?
I think every customer should plan accordingly and ask the important questions. All of our movers and drivers are professional. They are licensed, bonded, and insured.
See, right there, that alone is huge. Because anyone can buy an ad in Craigslist and not have any of those, credentials. And he could actually have a pedophile come into your home because he couldn't get a job anywhere else and decided to create his own moving company.
Right.
You could have, someone who's a perpetual house burglar. What better way to be a house burglar than moving someone's stuff? And so, people, that's what you call penny wise, dollar foolish, right?
Exactly.
When you think about all the money, and I'm using quotation marks on radio, it really is futile. But all the money I'm saving, using this guy I got on Craigslist, who's a fraction of the cost of all these other better known companies. Well, there's a reason why they're a fraction of the cost.
Exactly, and they're also background checked and drug tested as well.
Yeah.
So I think that separates us too.
What about testimonies? Do you guys provide testimonies of customers?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
On our website, and the reply cards are, I believe they're put on the web.
On the corporate website. They list definitely some of the replies, good and bad, of course, from customers. The other questions that customers need to understand or need to ask the moving companies that they're interviewing is, are you licensed, insured? You want to make sure that they're members of different organizations.
Whether or not they have a report with BBB, and if so, what does that report look like?
The whole nine. You don't want a rogue mover, and that's what we call them, a rogue movers, the Craigslist guys.
Yeah.
And, my father always told me never go with the cheapest, never go with the highest.
Yeah.
Find the guy in the middle because he's probably the honest guy.
Yeah.
For the business that you're looking for.
That sounds like a good plan. What's funny about the guy who's most expensive, often his style, he might have nicer looking stuff. What do you expect? He's the most expensive. But his approach is very similar to the cheapest.
Yeah.
Kind of cavalier and really not that interested in the customer. It's reflecting in the pricing and not only in the behavior and vice versa. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
Our owner, Mary Ellen Sheets, the first year in business, donated all of the profits to 10 different charities. And she's a big believer in community service. One of the first things I did when I came on board is I signed a contract with Habitat for Humanity. And we provide free moves with goods that are donated and moves for the family. So we're really looking to get involved in local Houston charities.
Very cool. I love that. And I think that's a great way to make a difference. 2 Men in a Truck, Maureen Burch and Stephen Bennett, thanks to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
You.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. Also, their website, by the way, 2 Men and a Truck, swhouston.com. Very good. More after this on The Price of Business.